So guys, welcome back to another photo review Wednesday. Today I'm going to take 10 or 11 of your photos and I'm going to give you a photo critique. If you want to send images, there's an email right here in the video description. First of all, I want to thank everybody for sending these photos. I know it's not the easiest thing to do because I'm going to criticize them. Now I'm going to do this based on what I've learned through stock photography and years of experience. So it's not personal. I just want to help you and everybody else improve, whether it comes to composition, commercial value, camera settings, and or your edits. Start recording. 3, 2, 1. All right, here we are in Lightroom. This is the very first photo you guys sent. And let me check the camera settings here. 1/80th of a second, f6.3, ISO 3/20th. I'm assuming this was handheld and that's why the settings are like this. I try to keep the ISO as low as possible, but if you're hand holding, this angle is kind of difficult, so I'm gonna say that's 4 out of 5. If you have a tripod and have the time and lighting to set this shot up, it'd be better, which is why I'm giving it 4 out of 5. Next, I'm gonna go to composition. And in this case, that image looks beautiful. I think this is the salted fish. I forgot the name, but this looks really cool. The only thing I would change here is this spoon. I would put this spoon right here in the corner or on the upper side just to get some negative space here in the middle. Everything is happening in the middle. So as far as composition, 4 out of 5, and this spoon would be the only tweak. As far as an edit, it looks great. This salt has a little bit of a blue tint, which you could reduce the tint in Lightroom. Just reduce the blue color, but that probably would change the fish. It's a natural shadow, the blue, so I'm gonna say 5 out of 5 on the edit. 4 out of 5 because this angle here, this top left corner, has a little bit of a highlight that could be reduced with a simple gradient in Lightroom. 4 out of 5, and as far as commercial value, food, top down, these photos tend to sell a lot. So I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 because by changing the composition slightly, fixing the lighting issue here in this corner, it would make it a much more sellable photo. So sellability, 4 out of 5. As far as the image, 4 out of 5 all the way across. Great job on this one. Let's move on to the next photo. Come here. Come on. All right, the next photo is this one, top down, food ingredients. It looks beautiful. 1/25th of a second, aperture of 6.3, ISO of 320. Again, I'm assuming the 320 is because we're hand holding. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 because that could be brought down. The other settings are fine. The shutter speed, 1/25th. You have to hand hold. Right now, it actually looks very good. Given the background, the mesh here, the pictures, everything has very good focus. So 4 out of 5 in those settings, and that's just because of the ISO. In the composition, I think everything here looks perfect. Everything is well set, so I'm gonna say 5 out of 5. I'd like that only some ingredients are, like cut off here in the top, the plate cut, the picture cut, that everything looks beautiful. So as far as composition, everything is here on the side. 5 out of 5 on that. Now commercial value, sellability, I'm gonna say 5 out of 5. Food items, ingredients, things like that, those will sell. Fresh things, bright colors, things like this will sell. Looking at this, going back to the edit, I'm gonna say the corn here, the same as the last picture. It looks a little bit bright and that could be recovered a little bit. So 4 out of 5 in the edit. Great shot. I could see this photo doing great. Fantastic job. Next. The next photo, same camera. Here's a family, mother and daughter cooking dinner. It looks like all the ingredients are out. They're in a kitchen. Everything looks great. Camera settings are 1/320th of a second, f2.2, ISO 250. I understand that. Again, I like to keep the ISO low, but it looks like the lighting here was limited. 320th is fine because not only are you moving when you're holding the camera, your models are also moving, so you need to keep them steady. So in this case, ISO 250 is understandable, and I'm gonna say 5 out of 5 on this one. There we go, 5 out of 5. As far as composition, everything is right in the middle. And for stock photography, I've had more success when things are off to the side. So I'm gonna say 4 out of 5 when it comes to composition. And that is, simple. I like how there's things out of focus. I like how there's things framing them, but just moving the camera one step to the right and changing it would have given you negative space on one side, and I think helped the composition. Great job on this one. As far as commercial value or sellability, I'm gonna say 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5, and that's because people pictures sell, people doing things, cooking. This is a family. This is definitely gonna do well. So 4 out of 5 because of the composition. If that composition was slightly on a third, I think it would sell even more. And now as far as the edit, everything looks great. I like the focus is spot on. Natural colors, the skin tones look great. Everything looks very, very well done. Awesome, great photo. Let's move on to the next one. Come on, I have to move. We're baking here in the sun. All right, that's a little bit better. We are out of the sun, and I think you can see me. It's kind of bad glare here, but I can see the screen. Next photo, more food. This looks beautiful. You got the hand element. Beautiful, colorful, bright food. I like the accent. Nice. Let's look at the camera settings. 1/100th of a second, f5, ISO 100. 5 out of 5 in these settings. They're perfect. ISO 100. f5 gives us enough depth of field to see what's in the food. Everything on the plate looks sharp. Beautiful. So 5 out of 5 in the camera settings. As far as what else do I criticize here? As far as composition, this one's tough. I'm gonna say 4 out of 5, and that is because just dropping the camera and changing the angle slightly would give us more of a background, a little bit closer, so you still see the hand, you see the food, but it blurs the background, making it more about the food and leaving this, I guess, this cheese and something out of focus in the back. Just dropping the camera a little bit and tilting it, I think will give you like a 45-degree angle, will give you a much stronger composition. I'm not saying this is bad, this is very good, but I think it could be improved. So I'm gonna go to 4 out of 5. Now, as far as the edit, I like it, I love it. The vignette looks very natural. The color on the food, the hand, the skin tones are perfect. I'm gonna say 5 out of 5 on the edit. Even though it's a little dark in the corner, it looks very natural. So beautiful job. And as far as sellability, you know, things food sells, the hand interacting with the food, I think that takes it to another level. So 5 out of 5 when it comes to commercial value. Next photo. The next photo, here's the person with the food. It looks, focus is on her. Great settings. Is that blurred? Oh, it's blurry. All right, let's look at the camera settings. Get the fly. All right, here, ISO 100, f2, 1/125th of a second. That explains why there's a slight blur. If you look at the eyes, there's just a little bit of a blur. And again, I know I say keep the ISO as low as possible. Sometimes you do have to raise it, and that's to increase your shutter speed. This was shot at 30 millimeters, so I'm assuming she moved. 30 millimeter handheld, usually you can get away with 100th of a second, but if she's moving, if she's trying to hold still or smile, that could cause that focus. So this is not going to get accepted for stock. It's a great image, great concept, but it looks a little bit out of focus or motion blurred. So again, doesn't quite do it, and that's because of the camera settings. So I'm gonna say 3 out of 5 because it had a potential, but somebody moved and now the photo is blurry. As far as composition, again, 3 out of 5. She's in the middle, even though her eyes are in the upper third and the food is in the bottom third. She's still right in the middle, and she is the subject. The microwave handle in the back, I think it's a little distracting because it comes right out of her head. If it would have just moved slightly a little bit, maybe shown a little bit more of the refrigerator, I think that would have been a much stronger composition. As far as the edit, I like the edit. Great colors. Wait, composition, 3 out of 5. I don't know if I said that. Edit, I'm gonna say 5 out of 5 because the skin tones, the colors, everything looks very natural and it pops. I see the steam coming out of the food. So 5 out of 5 on the edit. And as far as commercial value, if it was sharp, I think it would be a 3 to 4 out of 5. And if it was slightly composed, just slightly different, I think it would have been a 5 out of 5. But great job on this one. Just really keep an eye on your camera settings so that you can freeze people, whether it's you moving or they are moving. Next photo. This looks like a waterfall coming out of a cave where there's big rocks. It looks beautiful. Let's look at the camera settings. Okay, ISO 125th f11 at 0.3 of a second. That's a great speed for waterfalls. It gives it texture. In this case, it's blurry. It looks like it's out of focus, but I think it's motion blur. I'm assuming you had a tripod for a 0.3 of a second. If you were hand holding, this is very hard to do. If you're on a tripod, make sure that your stabilizer is off and that your mirror is locked up. If you have a DSLR, that clunk on the mirror, that'll give you blurry photos. So put it on live view, or find a way that you can lock the mirror up so it doesn't do clunk when you take the photo and give you motion blur. Cameras like mirrorless cameras don't have this issue. This was a Canon PowerShot G7X Mark II, 15 millimeter. Great settings. As far as camera settings, I'm gonna say 5 out of 5. But when it comes to the photo is blurry, it's not gonna get accepted. As far as composition, see this rock here in the bottom? That's, if you turn the camera up, you get that distracting element out of the way. Just because it's a brighter color and your eye wants to go to it, make it more about the waterfall. In this case, I would say put the waterfall in the middle and frame it with the rocks. But that rock in the bottom is a little distracting. 3 out of 5 in composition. No, 4 out of 5 because it's just one mistake. And then when we go to the edit, it could pop a little bit more. You could recover some of the highlights and just add a little bit of contrast to make it really pop. So 4 out of 5 in the edit. And commercial value, the sellability, I'm gonna say 3 out of 5 because unless this is a very famous place that people are going there to take pictures, it doesn't, waterfalls are beautiful to take pictures of, but they don't sell as commercial images because there's millions of photos out there. So that brings down the commercial value. So 3 out of 5. Good job on the photo. Just pay attention to the things I mentioned earlier. Let's go to the next picture. The next photo is this beautiful flower. I think it's a iris, a flag. I don't know, whatever. This begonia looking flower. It looks beautiful. If I go to the settings, it's a Canon PowerShot G7. It doesn't know the lens, and I don't have camera settings. The only thing I have is the ISO 125th. I'm assuming it was a pretty wide aperture because the background is totally blurred. It looks great. It's frozen. These things in the wind tend to blow. So as far as camera settings, even though I don't know them, the photo tells me it was a good choice. So I'm going to say 5 out of 5. When it comes to composition, I'm going to say 3 out of 5 because it's right in the middle and there's highlights and other things that distract from the photo itself. When you're working a flower like this, when you're working a composition, you have to move and find different areas that are gonna help complement the photo. So as far as composition, 3 out of 5. When it comes to the edit, I don't know if it was edited. It looks good. I'm gonna say 5 out of 5. It's got good contrast. It's got good color. It looks very natural. So 5 out of 5 in the edit. And the sellability here, I'm gonna go down to 3 or 2 out of 5 because there's millions of flowers out there. And if yours is not one of the best ones, chances of it selling is fairly low. I have a lot of photos of flowers and they don't sell, which is why I'm saying the commercial value is low. And if you do a search in any of the agencies for this type of flower, you will see how many thousands of them they are. But great job on the photo. Keep practicing, work that composition a little bit better so that you don't have the distracting highlights in the background. Next. Is this Mexico? I don't know. Looks like big old staircase from a tourist spot. That looks great. There's lots of people there. Camera settings, where is it? ISO 125th f5.6, 1250th of a second with the Canon PowerShot G7X Mark II. So in this case, I'm gonna say the camera settings, they could be improved a little bit. 5.6 is a very shallow depth of field. When you're doing a wide angle, it helps, but you could do an f11 where everything would be in focus. 12 12/50th of a second. That could be reduced and you could still get away with like an f10 or f9. As far as, so let's go 4 out of 5 in the camera settings. Composition, I'm going to say 4 out of 5 again, because you could tilt the camera down slightly, and this line, the pathway here, that's a leading line that goes right to the middle of the photo. By including more of that, you would add a little bit more strength to that composition. So 4 out of 5 in the composition. As far as the edit, it looks a little warm, a little yellow. I'm going to say 4 out of 5. I know it was sunny, I know, but it just doesn't have that natural look. It almost looks like it was very dusty, and that just doesn't look natural. You want images to look like you want to go there. Having the dust, it almost, and the glow, the warm glow like this doesn't look 100% natural. And as far as sellability, I'm also going to say 4 out of 5, because that could be improved by the edit and the composition. Great job. I like what you're doing here. Keep trying. Try visiting places like this with better light. I don't know if there's going to be any people there or not. Sunset, sunrise, lower shadows, more even light, or even a cloudy day would help eliminate some of the harsh shadows in the trees and stuff, and it will make a stronger image. If you have a person standing, going down the walkway, even yourself, I think that would help you a lot. But great job on this one. Let's move on to the next photo. It looks almost Greek, not Mexico. But let's look at the camera settings. Okay, here we go. ISO 125th, f5.6, 12/50th of a second. Okay, as far as camera settings, again, 4 out of 5. If you're trying to the photo is about everything that's happening, because you're not, even though there's a person walking, it's not a photo of him, it's of him walking away with everything in frame. So if you're trying to get everything in frame, try to get everything sharp. F11, F9 will give you a much better choice here, and you have enough shutter speed to compensate for that. So 4 out of 5 when it comes to camera settings. Wow, there's a lot of flies all of a sudden. Not me. When it comes to the composition, I know there's a chain and you're right in the middle, but you can still angle the camera slightly to remove these people from this side and show more of what's happening on the left, or do a vertical. So if you do a vertical shot, then you can reframe it and have a stronger composition with this photo. So let me say 3 out of 5, because there's distracting people on this side and you got a frame, but he's right in the middle. The composition could be improved slightly. As far as the edit, again, it looks a little yellow. That might have just been the day, but bring down the temperature of the image slightly, and that would give you a more natural color. And when it comes to sellability, again, I'm gonna say 3 out of 5. Great place. I tell you guys all the time to take pictures of people doing things. Great job. I like the photo. I think it could be improved just slightly. So let's move on to the next photo. All right, the next photo, and it looks like it's the last one of the day, is this dice on a blue background. It looks pretty good. Let me look at the camera settings before I talk. So the camera settings, ISO 109, f1.8, 1/100th of a second. It's a cell phone, that's why ISO is 109. And it's a 4.05 millimeter. So you can see how cell phones add this, what do you call it? Clarity or something here. This extra sharpening to the bottom, and that photo is not going to get accepted. It's going to say it has technical issues, and that's just the photo, the processing of the phone when you shoot. The camera settings are fine. There's not much you can do with the phone. There's certain apps that let you control it. I don't know how much of that you can actually control with it. You can't really change the aperture in a phone. They're usually a fixed aperture. So camera settings, I'm gonna say the 5 out of 5, because you can't change them. Camera shut off, I've been talking for quite a while. So as far as composition, I'm gonna say 4 out of 5, because it's still in the center. If you crop it just slightly, you could bring down, put the dies on the upper left corner or on the bottom left corner. And I believe that will give you a much stronger image than not just to the left with the blank blue space. The quality of the photo is not there. This photo is not going to get accepted. You can see here in the blue how it's extra sharpened, and that's just because of the phone. When it comes to the commercial value, this is not going to have it because of the technical aspect of the photo. Dice like this, it could sell. I'm gonna say 3 out of 5. If it was sharp with an improved composition, you have a concept, you got the numbers, you have the blue, that's very simple picture that would sell if somebody's looking for dice. The commercial value in here, I'm not sure. If there's a gambling thing on the news, it would change it completely, and now you would have a bestseller. We don't know what's happening around the world. Something to do with news, something to do with gambling, something to do with fish could change completely the commercial value of a photo that we already have. These things change constantly. Something like this, I'm assuming there's a lot of photos on the internet already, which is gonna bring that down. But good job, keep trying. I know your phone is limiting your numbers, but you're doing great as a photographer. Just try to upgrade to a better camera whenever you get a chance. But I think that was it. There's no edit on that photo because I believe that was just done on phone. It looks very natural, it looks good. It's just the extra sharpness that the phone added to the photo that's ruining the quality of the image. Great job again, guys. Thank you very much for sending these photos. If you want to send some for a review, there's a email here rather in the video description. Let me know what you thought about this type of review where I'm breaking it down and giving you stars and doing a more detailed video review or photo review. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.